Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news. It's Mondays with Mallory with KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's John Mallory. Listen to Idaho Sports Talk with Prater in the Ballgame. Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 95.3 FM The Ticket and online at KTIK.com. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Now, here's Johnny Ballgame and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? Happy Monday to you. New week here at Bronco Nation News. BroncoNationNews.com. It's Mondays with Mallory. We got our man John Mallory, host of Prater in the Ball Game, 3 to 6 weekdays, KTIK 95.3 FM, 1350 AM. Johnny, happy Monday. We talked to you on Saturday at the James. Appreciate you for stopping by. So I know some of your thoughts. We're looking forward to expanding on that today here on a Monday. So I hope you had a good rest of the weekend and good to talk to you, man.
Yeah, beautiful weather out, obviously, for the weekend. Yesterday was just spectacular. Hope everybody tuned in, had a happy Easter and spent some time with their friends and family. I know we did. It was great. Had a good meal, BJ. And now here we are on a Monday, and we have a spring game behind us and then a whole lot of pasture when it comes to now and Boise State opening its season on Labor Day weekend. But I think there were a lot of good things to take away from the spring game. I do.
Now, I know Prater was joking when he came on Saturday that our 25-part series starts today. It does not. We get a couple weeks off. We'll dissect the spring game, talk a little basketball, see what else pops up, maybe focus on some of the other sports as well. Softball's doing really well, but we will in May get into some of our off-season storylines and questions for this team, and I'm excited to get into that list, break down some of the players we think are some of the most important players. But this week will kind of be about recapping the spring game, recapping the spring in general, as we move forward. And what were your general takeaways from the spring game on Saturday? Not a huge crowd. We were all kind of guessing in the press box somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 probably. But the new scoreboard looked nice. It is big. It is a game changer in terms of the feel of that south end zone there. And that's the end zone where a lot of the false starts happen, where the crowd is loud, and that probably only is going to help keep the noise in a little bit, reflecting off that scoreboard. But you had that, and then you had obviously the game. Ashton Genty took control. We're going to talk about him. Some other guys stood out. But any before we get into the specifics, what were kind of your general takeaways from the spring game? And I'll say this, any fans, folks out there watching, whether it's on the KTIK channels right now or the Bronco Nation News channels, we'd love your thoughts on the spring game. If you were there, what'd you think? Positives, negatives, and if you have any kind of questions posed for Johnny or I as well coming off of that, we'll tackle them here in the next 26 minutes. But Johnny, generally your takeaways from the spring game.
I would imagine that Bush Hamden and his offensive staff were pleased with what they saw, not only in the flesh right there as it was happening, but I think when they looked at it again and again and again after dissecting that film, I thought the line of scrimmage was won by the offensive line. I haven't watched the film or anything, but just from my eye in the sky, I thought that the offensive line did more damage to the D-line than vice versa. And then I thought the playmakers that Boise State has on this offense, and they have a lot of them. They have a plethora, I think, of playmakers that are going to help this team in this offense this year, and they were able to get out there and show a little bit of what they could do. Mainly Ashton Jeanty, who I think Bronco Nation is hoping he takes a massive jump. He had a terrific true freshman year. Now can he have a player of the year, all-conference first team caliber type of season? I think he can. You saw Prince Strawn, who's going to be a name that we talk about a lot from now until September, out there making big-time plays as a true freshman who doesn't look the part. Dude looks like, just physically, like he's been in college for 2 or 3 years and had that physical development. So very impressive there, I thought. And then, you know what? I think the backup quarterback, I thought Mad Dog went in there, ran around and made some plays, was very efficient. CJ Tiller as well. That was against probably a third string caliber defense, though. But I think he checked a lot of boxes with the offense. That was my ultimate takeaway. I thought the offense got the better of the D. And back to the video board, too. I think that's spectacular looking, man. That was fun. That did add a big piece, I thought, to the stadium puzzle. Just being there, it closes it in. It's a terrific picture just when they're showing the replay on it. Albertson Stadium's never had that before, and to have that now, I mean, home opener, when September 9th, what's that, UCF? That place is going to be rocking, and yeah, that scoreboard is going to be a big part of it.
No doubt about it. Logan's asking how much muscle did Jeanty put on. Not sure about the muscle there, but he you know, I thought maybe I was prisoner of the moment a little bit, Johnny, coming off what he did in that bowl game, 178 yards, I believe it was. Helani only got a couple of carries. It was kind of by design. You know, Ashton Jeanty took over in that bowl game. We saw what he ended up doing as a freshman season as a whole. And I know you've been very high on him all season, and there's, you know, a legitimate debate who is, you know, running back one going into next season. I think we assume it's going to be George Helani just because of his experience, the veteran player that he is, the fifth-year senior. But Mike Prater said, you know, quote, there's no denying that Ashton Jeanty's the better running back on the postgame show the other day on Saturday. So I know you've been high on Ashton Jeanty. How do you see, you know, I guess the hype for him going in again? He had 2 touchdowns that were over 60 yards in the spring game. He had the 62-yard rush, I believe it was, and then the 75-yard screen pass from Taylon Green. So 5 touches, you know, over 150 total yards or whatever it was. How do you look at Jeanty and, you know, him rising as a sophomore here? And, you know, I don't think a lot of people expected Helani to be back this year. I didn't. I expected this to be Helani, you know, Ashton Jeanty's job, and he was going to be the workhorse bell cow back. Now Helani is back, but Jeanty probably still deserves a lot of reps. What's just your take on the running back situation with Jeanty? And I know you're very high on him, but I mean, being in the quote starter and being the better back, I don't know if that's, you know, the same.
Yeah, it may not matter. Like I would imagine week 1, Seattle, Washington, Husky Stadium, that first series, I would imagine George gets that series. But here that's something I'm saying on April 10th, right? Who knows how well Jeanty's going to play in fall camp? Who knows? George Helani, bless his heart. Who knows how healthy he's going to be at that point? George Helani has to have a massive fall camp, in my opinion, to hold Jeanty off, even enough to tell Bush, hey, man, I'm still the guy you're going to want out there initially. Have Jeanty feed and play off of Helani, not vice versa. But I think ultimately you're going to get to the point in games you have to win. Who is the better player? Who's the hotter hand right now? It's Ashton Jeanty, and I think it probably will be next year too. It would be a great bet. Who's going to have more rushing yards? I think it will be Jeanty, but if Helani has a heck of a year and that's capable, then all of a sudden maybe they're both rushing for 800-900 yards, and Bush Hamden has this 1-2 punch that maybe he's never had before. I don't know. I mean, I will tell you, if I'm Bush Hamden and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Taylon Green and I'm looking at Ashton Jeanty and I'm thinking, dude, I was in Missouri last year, and I don't know if my talent at Missouri was as good as these two kids that I have here at Boise State. He's got to be thrilled with this. And now that we're like talking about George Helani is just like an addition to the equation, not the equation itself, like he's been with his offense before, just tells me the explosiveness that they're going to have. I'm a Jeanty guy. I just think he's the better all around pure athlete player. I'm more impressed with Genty. I'd never seen Holani have a game quite as good as Genty had in the bowl game. I know Holani's had more yards. He's had, better statistical games, but just Genty putting on that display of physicality and the shakes he has and the combination. Now we've seen the breakaway speed too in the spring game. You're not catching Ashton Genty from behind. Bless George's heart. I don't remember the last run George had like either of Genty's touchdowns in the spring game. So maybe they figure out maybe George is better in shorter yardage situations. I don't know, BJ, but it's a great problem to have. George Holani's going to work his butt off to try to keep his RB1 status, but Genty's coming. Genty is waiting, and there's going to be a lot of moments, I think, like the spring game on Saturday, where Ashton Genty just has these big splash plays, and Bronco Nation's loving it.
Most teams, if you probably said, okay, it's a pretty even bet, probably who's going to lead the team in rushing, that's not necessarily a good thing because both the backs are probably not very good or average, and they're trying to figure out who the starter would be. In a situation like Boise State, I mean, could you have 2,000-yard rushers on the team?
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Jay Tuss brought this up a couple weeks ago or a month ago after the season, and I'd have to still kind of look at which other teams brought back running backs or lost guys, but Jay said that you could probably, if you wanted to, make a strong argument, and and again, I have to do the math here and kind of figure this out, but Jay says you could argue that on the first team preseason media, you could vote Holani and Genty as your two first-team backs. I don't know if that's ever happened. I doubt it probably will end up happening because most people will from other media will just pick one and then find somebody else on another team. But you could make a case, Jay said, and he's probably right, that the top two preseason running backs, if you also factor in expectations and how good they might be this year, could be Genty and Holani, which is crazy.
Wow. And Taylon Green's going to be the quarterback, and Cade Beresford's going to be on there at the offensive line. Who knows about maybe a Curran or somebody else getting preseason.
And Dooley, maybe, yeah.
Dooley, totally. Those two could be there along with Beresford. Again, I don't know if other media outlets are going to want to just throw all these Boise State guys on there. That hasn't been the case in the past. Boise State lately, too, has not been littered on the preseason All-Mountain West teams. Maybe that changes a little bit this year just because they lost so many veteran pieces the league did last year. Boise State is one of the only teams that has a lot of guys coming back. So we'll definitely see on that. 2,000-yard rushers, I'll say this, man, that's up to Holani because I think Genty's going to get 1,000 yards this year.
Well, what about Taylon Green?
I love Taylon Green on foot. My partner and I think Prater thinks he's going to have a little less than I do rushing. I just don't know how they're going to use him. I'm going to hold my judgment on Taylon Green. I'd like to get out there and say, oh, yeah, Taylon Green's going to rush for 800 also. But the more I'm listening to people, the more I'm figuring out, the more I'm seeing what I saw in the spring game. Maybe Taylon's a 500-yard guy, not an 900-yard guy, which is fine. But if you're talking total rushing yards for this team this year, I'd say, can they hang with Air Force? Who knows, man, right?
Yeah, so if you did over 1,500-yard rushers on the Boise State football team, over 1.5, so you get the other two guys, and you need one of them, whoever it is, what would that probably be in Vegas? Like plus 160?
Maybe even more than that, because that's asking a lot. I would still take the under on that. I don't think Boise State will have 2,000-yard rushers, but what I do think, can they get to, 2,700 yards plus on the ground collectively? As a team factoring everybody who gets carries, 2,500 yards possibly. I think that's in the cards. They're going to run the heck out of the ball. It's tough to tell, too, in a spring game because there were so many players that were out, BJ, especially on defense. So let me just throw that in there, too.
Yeah, we're going to get to the defense.
Offense did look really good, man. Yep.
I was checking the stats to try to remember what it was last year because last year, Johnny, you think about Taylon Green coming in later in the season and obviously didn't play the first couple of games. He still finished with 586 rushing yards.
I know, man.
Ashton Genty had 821 and George Holani had 1157. So you had three guys with at least 586 rushing yards. Do you bump that up to 700? Three with at least 700 this year? Do you think, or what's the number for all three of them?
I think
600.
I'll give Taylon 650, 700, and then Ashton I'll go 1,100, 1,200, and Holani 8 to 10.
Okay.
With 800 to 1,000. I think Genty will lead the league and lead the team in rushing this year. I think it's time. I think he's ready for it. I just think he's their best option.
Andrew Harris says Genty's going to be first team All Mountain West. Absolute beast. Looks like him and TG have a great relationship. That is worth noting too. It seems like they're calling it the 10-2. TG and Genty, they're kind of really good friends on and off the field now, doing a lot of joint NIL deals, things like that. And if you're a Boise State fan, man, two sophomores like that to build around here, it's pretty exciting to see. Chris V says he saw several 2 running back sets in the spring game. Lots of motion. The Hamden offense looks like the old school Boise State offense. What did you make of the offense in general and Bush Hamden? And did you notice anything specific? I mean, they're not showing a lot of their stuff that Washington may see in the first game, but could you tell anything at all about Bush Hamden's offense?
100%. I totally agree with Chris. I saw that too. It was different than what they had been doing, certainly in the past, with more spread, read, option stuff. And Bush Hamden's a Chris Peterson guy. Bush Hamden was here when Kellen Moore was here. They share a lot of similarities philosophically with this offense. And I think you're going to see a lot of that old school Boise State stuff, people will call it. And I think Bush knows what he's doing. I was really impressed, BJ. And yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of the Chris Peterson era stuff, because that's what Bush knows. That's what he's learned. That's who he's worked under for so long. And he's just got so much Boise State in him. I think I would have loved to talk to him, but what it was like for Bush being back on the blue calling plays. Bush hadn't been there. I don't know. Maybe he was a part of one of Pete's staffs that came back. I'm not certain though. The one time Chris Peterson did come back, but other than that, Bush hasn't got to coach on the blue for a long time. That must have been very nostalgic for him. And he called a hell of a game, I thought.
Did he this shows my lack of knowledge of old school Boise State, but he was the quarterback that started the game on senior day, right? When Kellen Moore didn't start.
Yeah. You're not supposed to say that though in this town, man.
49-3.
Yeah. Don't say that. Yes. Don't say that, man. You got to wipe that out. Bush started, he picked sixed it. Kellen came in, and I still don't know how the NCAA, 50-3, 49-3. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah, Bush backed up Kellen and saw Kellen run a lot of those plays and execute them to absolute brilliance. And it's nice to see Bush kind of have an old school Boise State philosophies. I know the fan base probably loves it because that era, man, did they win a lot of games, obviously.
Hey, exciting news. We want to announce we've renewed for another year with Cutwater Spirits, Stein Distributing. We appreciate them. They've received great feedback on Cutwater Spirits since they started advertising with us. So thank you to all of you folks that have tried them out at your local gas station or grocery store. More than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. And they saw enough on their advertising in the first couple months with us that they've renewed for another year. And we're very appreciative and thankful to Cutwater Spirits. So go support the sponsors. Head on out to your local gas station or grocery store, and 2 for $7, usually 2 for $6.50. Great, cheap, affordable. Get a couple Cutwaters on your next trip to the store when you're looking for a beverage. Rowpaint.com. They got those the concrete coatings going on, 5 times stronger than epoxy. The 1-day install. It's easy, and then it's transformational in terms of the look of your garage, your back patio, your basement. So don't wait. Change the look of that ugly, stained piece of concrete today. ROEpaint.com. Lithia Ford of Boise, they want to buy your used vehicle as well. They're going to be sponsoring the hole-in-one contest for the golf tournament coming up in June. Lithia Ford of Boise, the cash offer on the spot from the appraiser if you bring your used vehicle into there on Fairview Avenue in Boise. And again, we appreciate them. You can check out their full inventory of vehicles at lithiafordboise.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Johnny, they are giving out brand new golf gloves at the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament. So if you need a new golf glove, Johnny, you're going to get one at the ICCU.com, Idaho Central Credit Union. They're providing golf gloves at the tournament. They're very nice, classy gloves that have the Bronco Nation News logo on them and the ICCU logo on them. So last year they provided T-shirts. This year they're up in their game with some golf gloves. Really excited, looking forward to that. So ICCU.com. Check them out. Find a location near you, the best in mobile e-branch online banking. And if you're looking for a new job, how about Transportation Compliance Service? They can help you get into the trucking industry in no time. Transcomservice.com. All the permits, the DOT, overweight permits, all the things you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. Whether it's the big rig on your screen, the Amazon truck in your neighborhood, any kind of delivery vehicle in between, let TCS take care of it. They can help you and get you out there in no time. Transportation Compliance Service. Get more information, transcomservice.com. Okay, the offense was great, Johnny, in the spring game. The defense at times struggled a little bit. Andy Avalos said afterwards was not pleased with the tackling, so that has been a little bit of an issue during camp. But again, not only are you trying to replace Skinner and Jones and Matlock and Biggers and Noah, some key players, you were also without you were also without DJ Schramm and Dimitri Washington and Kaniho and all these guys that you're expecting to be big-time players. Markel Reed, three or four likely starters were also out. So you had basically one or two guys that were, in that group that were significant players last year in terms of playing time. There's a couple of guys sprinkled in, but it was a lot of young guys, a lot of new guys. What did you make of the defense? I know it's hard to put too much emphasis on it, but just based on what we saw and based on the stats, the defense had a little bit of a rough day, and that was a storyline going into the camp, going into the spring camp, going into the offseason. How are they going to replace all these guys? The offense is probably going to be further ahead than the defense, and that's certainly what we saw on Saturday.
Felt like an unfair fight, and Andy Avalos can't have that, right? And that was the very first thing he addressed at the press conference. We just didn't tackle well. We need to do a better job of tackling. The offense might not have looked that explosive had the defense made some tackles, fundamental type of tackles that it missed. And I know it's different now. You're not allowed to tackle like you were previous eras in practice. So there is a period of adjustment. I think it's harder in college football to play defense and to coach defense now than it is to do on offense. That'd be a good question to ask Spencer Danielson someday, but yeah, they were strapped. Felt like they had one hand tied behind their back at times. There were things that I liked though, defensively. I like the Amarion McCoy guy at corner. I thought he made a lot of plays, and really the secondary in general, Jalen Clark as well, Rodney Robinson, Shea Oladipo, Tubes. I thought there was a good back and forth battle between the wide receivers and the DBs. I thought the DBs got some plays in there, broke up some passes, and made it hard for the receivers in a lot of certain situations there. So I was pleased with that. But all in all, I just think, I think you hit the nail on the head. They just weren't as healthy as the offense was. And hopefully in Husky Stadium on September 2nd, because that's the next time you're going to get to see them. Hopefully that they've cleaned some stuff up, and I would imagine they have, because that's going to be a crazy atmosphere. That's 77,000 people, and that thing will be sold out. And most of the guys on the team have never been in a stadium that loud before, and that's going to be a tough environment to kind of weather the storm in. I know we're jumping way ahead, but I'm sure Spencer Danielson, DJ Schramm, Dimitri, the leaders of this defense, will have them hopefully ready to go by Labor Day weekend.
I mean, is it just, hey, we're going to blow this off because they were without some key guys, or, and do we trust Spencer Danielson's track record that they're going to be fine come the season, or do you have some legitimate concerns, or should Bronco Nation have some concerns about their ability to replace some of the guys they lost, and this defense staying at that standard they've been at for several years?
They're just not very beefy up front. So can they be more technical than they are physical? I don't know if that's even a thing. You'd have to talk with the coaches about that. It just feels like they lost a lot of pieces up front. Now, hopefully Herbert Gums, for one, takes it to another level and plays like Scott Matlock this year. Like, that's what you're asking these guys to do. They need to play at the level of the player that was there previously, or hopefully play at a higher level than the previous player did. So you're going to need a lot of these guys. Ahmed Hassanin is going to have a really good year. I expect him to play a lot. Dimitri Washington, right? I mean, how much pressure is on Dimitri this year to be kind of that front seven specimen that Boise State wants? DJ Schramm, that you're probably going to have on, can you have a better year than you did last year? Stay healthy the whole time? So, yeah, there's a lot of questions on the defense, but for me, it starts up front, and hopefully they can fix these issues. I'm not saying, hey, do you look in the transfer portal now? I'm not saying anything like that, but it feels like the defense, BJ, I don't know where the beef is going to be up front in the front seven compared to some previous years. But again, these kids, it's their time, spending the summer in the gym, be ready to go. And the standard is the standard.
Hey, if you're looking for some new Boise State gear, check out the Blue and Orange Store. The blueandorange.com offers free shipping for any order over $40. But if you're in the Boise area, you can just go to the Boise Town Square Mall, second floor there next to Pro Image, and get your full selection of Boise State gear at the Blue and Orange Store. Matt Boucher Real Estate. Check him out. The number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley for a reason. No home is too big or too small for Matt Boucher and his team. Check him out. Get more information at BoucherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets. Shop Ridley's.com. Go download that new Ridley's app. You can get savings up to 40% when you use the Ridley's app. One of the 13 locations in the state of Idaho or in the neighboring states. Check them out. Find a location near you. Get more information. Shop Ridley's.com. You looking for business insurance? Check out United Commercial Insurance. UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. They can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country. A quick call, 229-8222, could save you hundreds of dollars on your business insurance. Check them out, United Commercial Insurance. And Boise Dentistry Co. If you need a dentist, the full family dentistry, BoiseDentistryCo.com. They make it an enjoyable experience to go to the dentist. Check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com, 208-906-1255. 5 locations in the Treasure Valley, and they can help find a location near you at BoiseDentistryCo.com. And if you're looking to, the weather's finally starting to warm up, as Johnny said. Beautiful day today. Get out to Timberstone Golf Course, playtimberstone.com. Tee times are available. You can book a tee time, playtimberstone.com. Johnny may even see me one of these days out there at Timberstone. Maybe the first round in about 8 or 9 months. May try to sneak out to Timberstone. We're making plans for the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament, so you may see me out there. But awesome course, awesome people out there. Tad, Kelly, the whole crew does a tremendous job. So if you're looking for a course, it's worth every second of the drive. Head on out to Caldwell, Timberstone Golf Course, playtimberstone.com. We got a couple comments here in the last 3 minutes or so, Johnny, I wanted to get to on the YouTube chat. So ICCU YouTube chat. We're going to see what we got here. We appreciate all those that have been commenting throughout the show. Scott says the new video board is legit. Certainly will help with the big game atmosphere. Also says Genty needs lots of touches this fall. Ashton has always been swole. He's been helping Talon bulk up. But Seth, a little down on Talon Green, says TG stunk it up, hoping for a Cozart situation with Madsen getting in the mix. So Seth, not sure if he's related to Madsen or what, but what'd you make of Mad Dog? And somebody asked on the post-game show if there was any chance he could win the job. So it looks like Madsen has some fans here, but I don't think TG10's coming off the field very much.
No, Talon Green played fine. Like I said, the DBs, give them some credit too on some of those balls. They had some good breakups, man. I mean, he was just under 50% completion percentage in a spring game. I mean, don't work that out. Talon Green is he's the starter of this team, and come on. I like Mad Dog in a sense that I don't think the coaching staff needs to worry about QB2. I think Maddox Madsen has proven to this coaching staff this spring that I can be your QB2, and even if the tragedy of losing Talon does happen, I can come in, Maddox Madsen, with these running backs, with these receivers, with this O-line, and I can still quarterback this team at a high Mountain West caliber level and compete in the Mountain West week in, week out with Mad Dog at quarterback. Talon Green, though, takes you to another level. We saw that a significant amount of times last season. He'll be better this season. Seth, chill, man. It's coming. Don't worry about it. Don't judge this on the spring game when it comes to Talon Green. He'll be fine.
Well, it's Monday, but we got a hot take for you, Johnny, to wrap us up here. Sky Ship, our man Sky, is calling it right now. Ashton Genty will break Jay Ajayi's single-season rushing record, 1,823 yards, and he says it's happening this season.
This year? Because I was going to say, hey, maybe next year. You're right. I'm with you. When Helani is gone and you'll have Breezy in at that point, maybe Ashton Genty's true junior year, because remember, he didn't redshirt. But Ashton Genty has to play 3 years of college football. Maybe his junior year. This year, though, wow, if that does happen, is Helani hurt again? Or is Genty just that good and it's just undeniable, and he's the biggest force at back maybe they've had since a Jay Ajayi, and that still includes guys like Alexander Madison who are playing in the NFL right now, BJ. If he's on that level, then, Boise State they're going to be tough this year. They're going to be good. And Ashton Genty's going to be a sensational player, you hope. Knock on wood, he stays healthy and everything works out for him because, yes, BJ, tremendous career ahead of that kid.
Well, we got 3.5, 4 months, whatever it is, to break it all down. Looking forward to continuing our Monday segments, Johnny, into the offseason. We'll have plenty to talk about. We'll be listening 3 to 6 today. Prater in the ball game, KTIK radio. And if you missed the spring game, we got full highlights. We got Andy Avalos press conference, all the full coverage on our YouTube channel. Just subscribe, Bronco Nation News. YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. If you're watching right now, hit that subscribe button, the like button at the bottom of the screen. We'd love to have you as we grow our YouTube channel. And again, full highlights, full post-game coverage there. And you guys will have it covered today, 3 to 6 as well, right? I know you haven't had your show meeting yet, but I assume you guys will have full coverage of the spring game today.
Oh, you know it. We're going to talk about it as well. Maybe take some calls, read some text messages too, talk Genty, talk the new video board, all this good stuff that's flying around there, and hang on to football for just a couple more days in this town before, as you know, all of a sudden you're like September. That feels like a year from now, and we just got to inch toward that thing. So, yeah, we're going to talk as much football, Boise State football, as we can, BJ. So we'll cling on to this spring game a little bit more too.
Yep, appreciate you, Johnny. Thanks to JP as well for helping out. Again, 3 to 6, we'll be listening. Bob, Prater, JP, Johnny, the whole gang. Idaho Sports Talk, 95.3 FM, 1350 AM. You can download the KTIK app as well or listen online at KTIK.com. We're thankful for our partnership with KTIK and Bronco Nation News and looking forward to listening to their show this afternoon. I'll be back with Jay Tust tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. If any recruiting basketball news-wise breaks today or anything else, we'll have it covered for you at BroncoNationNews.com. Have a great rest of your Monday. 9 a.m. tomorrow, I'll be back with KTVB's Jay Tust. Prater will join us on Thursday. Winston Venable will have another show on Wednesday to wrap up spring ball with his thoughts as well. So have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.